Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, Yeehaw, and we have a bunch to talk about inside of this video. We have what looks like the move list for Zacian, so we know all of this Pokemon's moves already, which is really exciting. We also know all of the nerfs and buffs, except for one, I think, from the public test server, and some of them will shock you to your very core. Let's get into it. Yeehaw to you and yours. Here we go. This is from El Chico Eevee on Twitter. They know the possible moveset for Zacian here. Its passive is Intrepid Sword. We went over that yesterday. I actually have a video talking about it on my channel if you want to check it out. Its passive is kind of insane. And then it starts with either Slash or Metal Claw. No, excuse me. It's going to start with either Slash or Quick Attack as its basic move here. Slash will then move into either a branch of Metal Claw or Sacred Sword. And then your Quick Attack will move into either Agility or Play Rough. And finally, its Unite move will be Sovereign Sword. We don't know how all of these are going to work. Obviously, Quick Attack and Agility, they're probably going to be some form of a dash or something like that. Play Rough, we've noticed, has a bit of a dash and damage on a zoom roll, so we can assume that that all kind of falls in line right there. And then we have Metal Claw and Sacred Sword, which is pretty interesting because we're seeing some, huge similarities, obviously, with another sword Pokemon inside of Unite. I'm going to be really fascinated to see what power level this Pokemon releases at, because it could be wildly overpowered. We're just going to have to see. But now let's talk about some balance changes that we found from the public test server, and ooh, some of them are great. Huge shout out to the Unite Math Cord for putting all of these together here. Let's talk about them. First off, Mystical Fire is getting a damage decrease on Delphox, but Fire Blast is getting a damage increase by 35% on its second activation of damage. So, you kind of lay the fire down and then it pops again. That's getting a 35% damage increase. I think the Fire Blast build could already be run pretty well with Flame Charge. It just never got the cooldown reduction. And now that it has a huge damage increase, that actually could be the meta that we're going to see for Delphox. Tyranitar actually getting a nerf and a buff. So it's getting a nerf to Dark Pulse, which it makes sense. That's the build that everyone's playing. It's also getting a nerf to Ancient Power. It's getting another second added to cooldown. And another second here or there can make a big difference when it comes to some of the end fight engagements. So I assume that's what they're trying to get across with that. And then a buff to Stone Edge, which is really nice because Stone Edge is terrible. So maybe this nerf to Dark Pulse, this buff to Stone Edge, now all of a sudden we could see Tyranitar actually run a different moveset. They didn't find any changes to Dark Urshifu, but Water Urshifu did get a change to its boosted healing after Surging Strikes. So it's 3% max HP, 2 times plus 45, now just do 3% max HP. So we're getting less healing on its Surging Strikes, which, it actually could be something because the sustain on this Pokemon, especially early, is very, very wild. It looks like there's no nerf to its ult, although we thought its Unite move was getting some sort of nerf. Gardevoir getting 2 nerfs, Psychic and Psyshock. Psychic and Psyshock both getting a cooldown increase there, so it's going to take longer to cast both of those moves, even though there is some cooldown reduction inside of Psyshock itself. We'll have to see if this makes a huge difference. This Pokemon's getting a lot of play, and I still think you could get a lot of value out of it, even with these nerfs. Espeon getting, honestly, one of the craziest buffs. It doesn't seem like it, but the range of Psyshock is increased and it's massive. It's massive. This move already does insane damage, stuns. Once it gets upgraded, it fires extremely fast, and now it's getting I'm telling you, a massive range increase. This could be really huge for this Pokemon, just in time for its Battle Pass. What are the odds? Wink. And then its boosted auto attack also getting a huge damage increase. Great buffs here for Espeon. Comfey! Oh, my sweet little Comfey. It needed some buffs, right? So Sweet Kiss is actually getting a cooldown reduction. That's great. Grass Knot getting a 2-second cooldown reduction. 1 second is already huge. Inside of Pokemon Unite, there's no system that stops you from using a move outside of an enemy hindrance, you being stunned or something like that, and then a cooldown. So there's no mana system or anything like that inside of Pokemon Unite. So cooldown is really one of the biggest factors as to whether or not you're going to be useful inside of a fight. 2 seconds being knocked off a move all of a sudden could turn that into a very, very good choice. I already think that Grass Knot in some ways is the better choice on Comfey. It's just a little harder to hit. It doesn't cast always the way you want, and it's got that cooldown there. But now that that's cut down by a huge percentage, by like 25%, right? Now that that's cut down by 25%, you could see the uptime on that be really, really strong. Also, its Unite healing per tick got a 50% increase. So they clearly want you to actually get some work done with this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon coming on top of the Rescue Hood, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I think it actually start to make this Pokemon viable. Wigglytuff needed a buff, and it got one here. It's getting a buff to its Unite move. Its cooldown is going from 112 to 89 seconds. That puts Wigglytuff's Unite move in line with Delphox's Unite move for cooldown. Now, it can't farm the way Delphox can, and it's not going to run an energy amp, you would assume. So it's not going to have the same amount of uptime on its Unite move, but this is a really nice increase for Wiggly. It just means you're probably going to get one more Unite a battle here. Talonflame, it's unclear what exactly has been changed. Something about its movement speed, either on Gale Wings or on Fly. I don't know if they nerfed it or buffed it. Nobody is sure right now exactly what happened to Talonflame. So we're just going to have to try to figure that out at some point. Who knows? Who knows what they did to Talonflame? Ding! Let's talk about Dragonite. Dragonite is getting a buff to its Unite move. It's going to be able to be casted faster, which is kind of fine because its Unite move is not that great in general. However, this is a nice little buff here. Outrage boosted damage is getting an increase from 150% of your attack to 135%. From 135 to 150. The other way around, that's a nerf. So what we're seeing right here is obviously the Outrage build has never fully kept up with Hyper Beam for a lot of reasons, but this could finally maybe push it a little bit over, give it a little bit of what it needs. Once it gets a certain amount of damage, it can start to delete things a little faster. You just have to imagine that if they buff it just enough to where it would take one less punch to KO something, that's massive in the world of Unite. Being able to punch something, it's gone, instead of having to hit it again and then move on to another target. This could be exactly what you need for this build. We're gonna have to try it out. Now, a really exciting one right here is Trevenant. Trevenant is getting another cooldown decrease to Woodhammer. So it got one a little while back, I think from 8 seconds maybe to 6, or 7 to 6. And now it's getting a 25% damage increase to Woodhammer. It looks like they actually want us to use Woodhammer, but clearly they actually don't want us to use Pain Split, and I don't know why. Please, please, I'm begging you, buff Pain Split. Now let's talk about everyone's favorite Zoroark, who got an interesting sort of nerf buff. It's a buff, but basically as Zoroark until level 5, where you become Zoroark, you get a attack decrease, but then your stats start to scale better as you become Zoroark. So this is like an early game, little bit of a nerf for a late game buff, which is nice because this Pokemon falls off a little bit late game. Also, you see it's getting a buff to Cut, which is cool. I really like Cut as a move, but it hasn't been getting the play that Shadow Claw has. And its Unite move is getting a 12-second cooldown reduction right there, which is really nice. Some nice buffs for Zoroark, a Pokemon that was doing really well early game, pretty good mid game, and then falling off a bit late. And this might actually help it out a lot. Taking a look at another nerf here is to Eldegoss's Cotton Guard. This is not super surprising because Eldegoss is really, really great. Cotton Guard is amazing. I mean, a 1.5 second increase, I still think it would be the play. It's probably what I would still run on Eldegoss. I think that move's amazing. It's a team-wide shield and healing. You pair that with the items coming soon, it's just honestly, it's just a really sick move. I don't think it's going to hurt Eldegoss much at all. And then an item that has not yet hit Pokemon Unite is the Shedinja doll, and that gives you the ability to be invincible. It used to be for 1 second, now it is for 2 seconds, and it has a reduced cooldown. This is going to be a really cool move because it's going to let you juke some big stuff. Like if they're charging up a Wicked Blow and you know they're right about to throw it, or you're about to get hit with a Hyper Beam or a Fly from Talonflame or something, boom, Shedinja doll, negate the damage, you're good to go, and you're back to fighting. It could be a really big meta item. That's a battle item that's going to be coming to Unite soon. Let me talk to you real quickly here about the 2 held items that were released inside of the PTS as well today. And also, if you're interested in more stuff for Goodra and Lapras, I was playing around with it. I've got the full stream up on my channel, and I also will have some Goodra and Lapras videos coming out. Both of them are really cool Pokemon. Let's talk about these held items. There are 2 new items coming to Pokemon Unite, the Rescue Hood and the Slick Spoon. This is the Rescue Hood. This item increases the recovery effect by 10% and shielding effect by 10% when they are granted to an ally Pokemon. It also gives you special defense and defense as stats. This is obviously going to be used on Pokemon like Blissey, Clefable, Comfey, things like that. And I think it's going to be a pretty meta item for all of these Pokemon. Increased healing coming to Pokemon Unite very, very soon. Let's talk about this Slick Spoon right here. It's going to give you special attack and HP, as well as give you the ability to penetrate 20% of the opposing Pokemon's special defense stats. So this is going to be used for your special attackers so that you can actually get more damage onto your enemies. It also gives you a nice HP buff, and I found that it was pretty good on Goodra and Lapras. I almost called it Lapdos, okay? That's where I'm at. Like I said, so much stuff from the PTS. I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Also, it just got announced that I will be casting the Pokemon Unite Championship Series on Saturday. I hope to see you all there. Thank you all so much for your support. Yeehaw to you and yours. I love you. We did it.